All right, so you may have found that your wheel is not rolling between your brakes properly. It's basically out of true, so it's kind of wobbling back and forth. That could be just because the wheel is out of true, or it could be because the spoke is broken. Spokes usually break at 2 spots. The most common spot is right here at the bend. That's the weakest point. And sometimes it breaks right here where it reaches the spoke nipple. So what you can do is you can take your rim and kind of feel around. As you can see, this is the broken spoke here. But you kind of feel around, see if there's any more broken spokes. If you have 1 broken spoke, you can replace it. If you have 2 or 3, usually you need to replace the wheel. It could be very far out of tension. Basically, all these spokes should be almost exactly the same tension. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pull the spoke out, making sure that you're not scratching the rim if you have a very nice rim. And you're going to size up the spoke. So what you can do is you can use a ruler or whatever you have at home that can read in millimeters. This is a spoke ruler, so it actually shows us the exact amount. This spoke is 299 millimeters. So what you do is you go into a bike shop, or if you have one laying around, that's the right size spoke. Then you take that spoke, make sure you have a little bit of spoke prep on the actual threads so it'll stay in the nipple properly. Get your spoke nipple, and you're going to thread the spoke through the wheel just as it looks with all the other spokes, the same pattern. So there's a couple different patterns. So maybe a radial pattern, which basically means the spoke goes straight out, 2 cross, which crosses 2 spokes, or this is a 3 cross, which is probably the most common. So you want to make sure that you're doing exactly the same pattern. The spoke is through, and you can put your spoke nipple in. And thread it onto the spoke. So this is a more advanced process. You're going to want to make sure that you take a class on this, or that you're working with somebody who's very experienced, maybe a former bike mechanic or a current bike mechanic, because you can really mess up your rim and cause a lot of damage, and could be very, very pricey. So basically, once you have the spoke on, then you're going to retension it and put it on a truing stand and make sure that the wheel is nice and true. Also, you want to make sure that once you're done with that, you put the rim strip back in. Basically, there's 2 types of rim strip. This is a single walled rim. So you can see there's just 1 wall inside, and the spoke nipples are very exposed. That you can use just a rubberized rim strip. Sometimes these get really brittle over time, so you want to make sure you replace them. That may be why your tube goes flat, is because the spoke nipples actually cut the tube and you need a new rim strip. If it's a double walled rim, which basically means it has 2 walls, you can see the difference. So the 2 differences in rims. 1 single wall, and then the other one double wall. A double wall rim, you need to make sure that you're not using the rubberized rim strip. You need to be using a cloth rim strip, or something that's much stronger, so the tube doesn't push into the holes and cut the rim strip. And that's how you replace the spoke.